That's right, guys. The financial literacy conversation is more than just managing your money. You also want to learn about building wealth, and that's what we're going to do in this conversation with the Stock Exchange of Trinidad and Tobago.
Investing and trading on the stock market can be an effective approach to building wealth over time. Yes, the stock market carries risk, but it is one of the most efficient ways to build up one's net worth. Let's begin with understanding what is a stock. A stock or share is an investment that represents legal ownership in a company and allows the shareholder voting rights, which enables them to have a say in matters of corporate policy at business meetings such as annual general meetings. In addition to voting rights, being a shareholder has multiple benefits when it comes to building wealth. It allows you a financial cushion in the case of unexpected emergencies, but more importantly, it provides you with a world of financial opportunities.
Welcome to it, guys. The Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange's Financial Literacy Initiative is on, and we're talking investing in the local stock exchange. To guide that conversation, Miss Eva Mitchell, the CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, joins us this morning via Zoom on Now. Good morning, Eva, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely necessary, because financial literacy is something we all need. But beyond literacy, we also are very keen on growing wealth. The stock exchange is a great way to do that. So let's jump into the conversation right away, shall we?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In terms of investing in the stock exchange, it's an intimidating term even. While we'll explore that a little more thoroughly, tell us why it is beneficial as an average person, as a retail investor, to look into growing your wealth by investing in the stock exchange.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me. And let me, first of all, quell any concerns with respect to who should invest in the stock market. So the stock market is not just for the rich man. The stock market is for everyone that wants an opportunity to benefit or to build their wealth. So I would say the stock market is for everyone. We have, I know price is important and return is important for everyone. We have shares that are listed in the stock market that range from $2 up to $140. So the idea here is to be able to select the stocks or the shares that you think are more suitable for you and that meet your investment need. Now, you asked, what is the benefits of investing in the stock market? But let me tell you that this is a question that we've been having, for quite some time, especially from non-traditional investors. Everybody asks, what do I need to invest in the stock market? Who should I go to for advice? How do I open up an account? But I think it's important for us to have a general understanding of how the stock market works first,
right?
And ensure that we look at all our options and weigh the options and select what is most suitable for us. So the typical investor, the typical Trinidadian, will look for investments through products such as mutual funds, bank fixed deposits, and savings accounts, even a credit union. And while these investments may be appropriate investments based on the objective of each investor, when you look at the returns and you look at how much you benefit from these investments, and you look at how much you could potentially benefit from owning shares in companies that are listed on the stock market, you see that there is a difference, and there may be an opportunity that you're missing out. So, for example, if you look at returns on a bank account, it's 1%, sometimes even less than 1%. If you held shares in the stock market, as a matter of fact, if you held shares in 2022, you would have at least benefited from, in some cases, more than 50% return on your stock, on your investment. If you held shares in 2023, we had about 9 shares that advanced more than 20% on the stock market. So the idea or the strategies for you to ensure that you select the right shares that will give you that type of return, and also you are able to get the advice that you need so that you're able to move in and out of the shares at the right time. Now, where do I get that advice? Because like I said, that's one of the questions that we ask all the time.
Right.
Now, we have 8 brokers that operate in the local market. And those 8 brokers are listed on our website. And any broker will be happy to sit with you and give you that advice that you need to, make a more informed decision and help manage your investment portfolio. These brokers are licensed. And let me say as well that the trading and the activity that happens on the stock market also happens in a very regulated manner. So it's you benefiting in a very legal and regulated way. I would also say to you, Ainka, that we, in addition to you potentially benefiting from capital appreciation, and when I say capital appreciation, I mean the prices in your shares increasing. You also benefit from the growth and profitability of companies by way of receiving dividend payments. So if a company that you own shares in reports a profit, these companies pay dividends, sometimes every 6 months, sometimes every year.
Right.
I would also go further to say that over the last year, the dividend-paying companies on our exchange averaged about 4%. Again, compare that to what you're getting in a bank account, right? You're getting less than 1%. Sometimes, like I said, below 1%.
Now, even what I'm hearing, though, is great stuff in terms of what it can do for us. But I mean, we're still going to have the person who, even though you mentioned the actual investments being done for you by brokers and all of those options, we might still feel intimidated to begin to have the conversation. And I understand that the TTSE has actually created platforms that simplify that process, much like the visual we saw before we started this interview, giving us the insight, the lingo, and kind of bridging the gap, if you will, for us. Tell me a little bit more about some of those initiatives.
Right. So right now we have a focus on growing our retail investor base. So over time, our investor base really predominantly was made up of institutional investors, large institutional investors and the wealthy. We have a focus now where we want to grow our individual or retail participation. And how do you do that? 2 ways. We do that through making the stock market more accessible to retail investors. And by doing that, we've leveraged technology. We've launched our online trading platform. So you no longer have to call up your broker and send your orders or your trades through that broker. You have access through your mobile device to log on to our platform and, send your instructions or send your order through that platform. So that means that you have access now that did not exist before. In addition to which, we have a very aggressive investor awareness outreach program. So we've been in most of the webinars, seminars. We've been hosting webinars and seminars throughout the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years, directly targeting retail investors so that they are more aware of their investment options and they are more aware of the benefits of investing in the stock market as a way to building their financial wealth. We have seen this translated into some pretty progressive numbers, I would say. Over the last year, we've had an increase in retail participation, over 10%, which is really good and commendable. So it shows that there's value in the efforts that we are undertaking. We've seen a heightened level of interest. So we have more questions coming to us with respect to how to invest and how to be part of this investment strategy. And we've also seen that our online platforms, which we expected to only account for 5% of our total trades in the market, now accounting for over 33% of trades in the market. So it's very encouraging. It's something that we're going to continue to pursue because, like I said, investing is not just for the wealthy. It's not for the big ticket clients. It's really for every man, the small man. So if you just look at the type of companies that are actually listed on our stock exchange, you'll see that they are companies that the retail investors or the small man patronize. So you see banks, you see KFC, you see Superfarm, you see Massey, and these are companies that we all patronize. We have even regional companies. So it is your opportunity to own piece of these companies, own a share in this company. I mean, you patronize the product enough that you have
Might as
confidence,
well.
and you demonstrate that confidence in buying it. So it's an opportunity to actually own shares in that company.
And get returns for
But
it.
I would
Yep.
say, Ainka, let's not forget that the stock market does come with its risks. So that is why it's important for you to, partner with a broker, get the advice that you need. Like I said, these brokers are licensed, and they're licensed to give the advice so that you have that information that you need to also make an informed decision. One point I'd like to make, though, Ainka, is that, most of us have not yet dabbled in the stock market, so we're not comfortable with that yet. So what I would recommend to a new stock market investor is to first buy into an equity mutual fund. And with that equity mutual fund, you put yourself on a cycle where you contribute to that fund on a monthly basis. So you get used to that monthly contribution in terms of your investment.
Mm-hmm.
And with an equity fund, you also get used to the fluctuation in prices, which is exactly what happens on the stock market. Mm-hmm. When you are comfortable enough and you've set yourself in that cycle, you're comfortable with the fluctuations, you've understood how it works, then you can then move into directly owning shares in the specific companies. And that way you are directly benefiting from the profitability of these companies. I would also go as far as to say that our companies that are listed in the stock market has demonstrated a lot of strength. They've remained profitable and they continue to pay dividends to investors. So investors are rewarded.
Well, Eva, you've given us a lot of food for thought this morning. And I know that, as you say, you've seen more interest. You're going to continue to see more interest, as persons are certainly going to head over to the Stock Exchange website for all of this conversation and more. We thank you very much for joining us this morning.
And thank you for having me. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course, Ms. Eva Mitchell, the CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, joining us this morning to give us a little insight on some wealth management that we could look into through financial literacy that the Stock Exchange of Trinidad and Tobago is now offering. Guys, we'll continue these conversations and more after the break. Stick around. The Now continues after this.